in Canada because...
A boot! Not a boot. Sorry.
Hey, welcome back to Trail Trash Garage with Jeff. Hey, we're outside today, so hopefully the wind won't be too bad on the mic. I'll try to speak up a little bit. Just the garage is a little full. And it's supposed to rain, but it isn't raining yet, and the temperature's pretty warm. So this is just a quick follow-up video on the DIY mirror project. So I had a comment from a viewer, Ryan, shout out to him, about using an M10 instead of an M6 inside of this ball. So I just want to clarify a few things, and I've got caller number 2's bike. So I'm going to bring you around and I'll sit you up a little closer and kind of show you what we're doing here. All right, hopefully that's an angle we can both, you guys can see really well. So this is an M10, it's just a standard bolt, M10 by 1.25, and that's what this is threaded at. Now, I don't have an Allen cap head M10, so I'm just using this for an example, but basically, Ryan's question, and that's if you go back to the previous video and read the comments. If you haven't, then I'll just recap it. But basically, on this design, this was the original design of the ball, and I had used an M6 to come down through and give this stock some strength. And he said, well, why not just use an M10 to go straight in? Well, the thing is the weakest point in this is right here, this connection here, okay? It's not the threads. If this is a solid mass, when we broke this one off over here, it broke off, it sheared right here, right at the top. So in this, if we had an M10 in here, you got a strong connection into the perch, but you're still gonna have some sort of a connection from here to here. Plus this has to stay skinny so that the ram arm clamp is able to rotate on the ball. And I'd have to check, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that an M10 cap head is going to be just about the same thickness, and so I don't know exactly how I would have connected that and made a strong connection to the top of the screw. I could have embedded it in here and had a very long bolt come down through, but again, like there would have been a very, very little plastic here, so that might have worked if the head of the bolt was up here and it was long enough. Now the other issue was and I said this in the comment back to him about left-hand thread. So I was going into a Yamaha, and as you can tell, this is a normal right-hand threaded bolt, okay? And it bolts in here the right way. Bang, 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 right? This, unfortunately, is not. So if we take this bolt out and we move it over here, yeah, okay, that is not going to thread in. Nope. Nope. So this was the one that I printed with the left-hand thread, right? Can't cross thread it. There's a couple of threads that are buggered up here at the top, of course, and that always seems to happen because people try to monkey with it. There we go. So now I've got a wrench here. I've got that printed flat on two sides so I can get a wrench on it, but anyway, so left-hand thread. So finding a cap head Allen M10 by 1.25 with a left-hand thread that's long enough to do what we want to do. I don't know if that's, I'm sure I didn't do a quick look. I probably should have for the video, but I don't know if that's quickly available, and maybe McMaster Mar has one. But I don't know what the cost of that is. M6 right-handed thread M6s are all over the place. And so the thing is what is the strength of this plastic, right? And the answer to that question is let me get this back out of here. You've got the load is being spread over all of these through that screw. So you're gonna torque that down really hard to strip these from that perspective. So again, once this is bolted in, you're not gonna get it like stripped out. It's not gonna get pulled. There's no forces that are gonna rip those threads. So as long as you don't over torque it and you're gonna have to over torque it pretty good to strip those threads out in this hole. You're never going to need more strength than those threads are going to provide in this lateral force. The force you're going to have is this way, side. The mirror's going to be up and it's going to take a hit like this. So it's going to crack right here, or it's going to crack right here. And with the M6 bolt that comes down through, there's just a little bit of plastic between the M6 and the plastic that's threaded into the aluminum here. That's really going to be plenty of strength. Now, you don't want it too strong either. And here's the other thing, right? So this is a steel bolt, and most of your mirror stocks are steel, but this is not steel. This is aluminum. It's cast aluminum on all sides, and they're aluminum threads. And you know, that's another safe thing, because if you're torquing your mirror down in here, steel threads on aluminum, what's going to give? The aluminum's going to give, right? Here, chances are, if you do have any sort of forces that rip this out, it's plastic that's going to give. It's not going to damage the aluminum threads in here, and you can just print up another one in and then put your mirror up. You don't have to worry about damaging this, because this is easily printed and cheap. This is not. So I guess those are the reasons. I probably could come up with a design with an M10 if I could find it, but I just think I'd rather just do this. Plus, if you're going to spend extra, then I did a quick search for this before the video to see if I could find the ram balls that are pre-done, that are made for these, that have a left-handed thread for Yamaha, and I didn't see one. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I didn't look that hard. I just quickly looked on the internet. I didn't find one. So in a Suzuki or anything else, of course, you could get just the regular ram ball or two of them, because they're all going to be right-handed threads that I could tell. But with Yamaha, it's all about the left-handed thread on this right-handed handlebar, and that just goes back again to I guess Yamaha felt like they wanted the mirrors to be able to be adjusted the same way. So instead of both mirrors screwing this way, they wanted both mirrors coming, one clockwise and one counterclockwise, so they both snugged up from the outside in, or I don't know. It's a Yamaha thing, right? So this is cheap. M6s are cheap. There's lots of room inside of this, which is a standard size for RAM, for that M6 to go in and provide that internal skeleton for the strength of it. Just an FYI, there's a guy named CNC Kitchen. If you're interested in 3D printing, that he does a lot of strength testing and heat testing and stuff with different filament materials. And there's a shear pin test. What it was 2 pieces of metal sandwiched over 1 piece of metal, and a shear pin, a 6mm shear pin going and connecting the two, made out of this material. And pretty much all of the materials they tested, ASA, ABS, PLA, PTEG, and I think he had one polycarbonate as well, they all handled like 130 kilograms of force. Like that's quite a bit, right? Before that pin sheared. So the plastic's pretty good. It does have some weak points, and specifically, I won't get into too much in 3D printing, but you can kind of see the grain structure here. So if I had printed this in this location or orientation, sorry, in this orientation, the print goes like this. It builds the layers up this way. Well, the weakest point in a print, not factoring in the design of it where there's a skinny spot or whatever, but it's just in a regular blocky print, the weakest part are the layer line connections, right? The connections between the layers. So if you're looking for strength in a certain direction, and in this case, we're looking for strength this way, right? I printed it in this orientation so that the plastic is laid down in layers, so the layers go this way, right? So that way, in order for the layers to become a factor, it would have to crack, lengthwise, which is likely not going to happen with this design, right? So that's just another thing to keep in mind when you're designing and printing this stuff. If that makes sense. I know it could be a little confusing. I'm not the best at explaining this. There's lots of great 3D printing channels out there that do a lot better of explaining this sort of stuff to me. But anyway, in the final design, you can see where this one is. It's got a fairly long stock. I wasn't sure exactly how long to make it. Depends on the arm that you're using. But in the final design that went in Collins XT, the other Collins XT 250, I shortened the stock up a bit, so it's really quite stout and short, and it's going to take a pounding. Like really, the arm is going to break before the ball will break, and that's what we want. We want, if you get smashed, if you're down and you really take a bad one, and the mirror is going to break, you want that arm to break, or you want the connection here, the arm like down here to break or pop off the ball or something like that, which is where most of them have broken. One of the sides of the arms that clamps over the ball has broken and come off the ball. And that's where all of the breaks have happened on these mirrors. And I've had very few of them. Usually they just bang in and you fold them back out, just like the real double take mirrors. But the couple that I have broken, that's where they broke. And you just pre-print a new arm. It's really that simple. Matter of fact, you hold on 1 second and I'll show. Okay, so I guess I won't be showing you because I must have thrown that one out. But basically this was one of the designs that was on the XT, my XT 500. And so it just sandwiches like that. And the bolts go through here and you just tighten it down and that's your arm. And the mirror, of course, goes up here. But where it broke was it just broke right down here, right in here. And so you could just pull it off no matter how much you tightened it. It would just come right off the ball because of the crack through here. It never completely broke, it just cracked. But anyway, so I just had to print 1/2 of these. And I usually keep like whatever design I'm going with, the design that I have on the DRZ over there. I've just got a couple spares of these. Like you have to print. So one has a captive bolt head. So they are slightly different in the way they do. So you print one of each, and you've got a spares, and you just throw them on when you need to. You can pack them in a back on a trip, right? In a pack, and then take them so that you can swap them out in the field if you need to. And I guess that's the easiest thing about this, right? Is I mean, maybe the double takes never break, but if they did, you're never gonna have a spare because I don't know. I'm not gonna pack 100. I'm not gonna buy another $100 mirror just to pack it in my bag. To, you know, do I have one? I'll just drive home without a mirror. But a 3D printed arm, yeah, you could probably throw that in your pack. I mean, it's only a couple of cents to print, so there's advantages and disadvantages to it, I guess. But in any case, I hope that explains everything. I'm sure when I go through and edit this, I'll find things I probably should have said. But in any case, Ryan, hopefully that answers your question and sheds a little more light on the 3D printing process. And yeah, so for Jeff and Trail Trash Garage, we'll catch you in the next video. You know we're in Canada because...
A boot! Not a boot! Sorry.